Go, go, Power Rangers! Da-da-da-da-da. Go, go, Power Rangers! Ah! Yeah. Look, it benefits to be a Power Rangers. Look at these rock hard abs I got. Yeah. Definitely benefits to be a Power Ranger. I'm signing up immediately. Oh. Oh. Welcome, guys, to Netflix Nights number 21, where I talk about Power Rangers. But before we do, let's see what the good folks over at Netflix have for a synopsis for us today, shall we? When their hometown of Angel Grove becomes threatened by alien monsters, led by the villainous Rita Repulsa, 5 superhero teens suit up to save their community and the planet from obliteration. Rated PG-13 and from 2017. And you know what, guys? Right off the bat, I gotta tell you this. I was a huge fan of Power Rangers back when I was a kid. It was the thing to watch. Back then I didn't really know the cheesiness of it because I was just a kid. But I loved the suits, I loved the characters, I loved the creatures, I loved sort of the comedy of it. Everything for me really was wonderful to do with Power Rangers. I loved everything about it. And I actually still have the original Power Rangers action figures still in the package to this day. So, that tells you I'm a fan. I loved it. And when they announced the movie and they announced it was going to be a reboot and sort of a remake, I was worried because, look, I'm not saying you can't remake these properties. Look, they remade Scooby-Doo, and they've done a lot of these other type of things before. So Power Rangers, it's nothing new. And Power Rangers was not going to escape it. So I was not, ready to hate on it as much as I think everybody else was. But I was definitely nervous. And I didn't get a chance to see it in the movie theater, so I decided, what the hell. I'm just going to watch it, put it on my Netflix queue, and see how it is. And, the first thing to really say about this movie is that it definitely feels more mature, more grown up. It definitely feels very trying to push itself into this new generation. Back in sort of the 90s, I think that you could get away with some of the stuff that they did in that TV show, the cheesiness and everything like that. Maybe even sort of the stereotypes that they did. Because, again, I don't think we were as, dare I say, politically correct as we are now. I think you could get away with it a little bit more then than you can now. And you could definitely see they've sort of made it more mature, made it even probably a little bit more PC than probably what the show ever was. But, right off the bat, I think the characters here, I think they work. At first, I was a little unsure about it because it kind of feels a little, Breakfast Club type of stuff. Basically, all these kids meet up through detention, and basically none of them really care about each other. One's the jock, one's the nerd, one's the sort of bad boy, the other's the outcast. It is definitely 80s stereotypes. So they're putting 80s stereotypes in this new modern type of movie. I'm not against it. But soon they end up learning to trust each other and enjoy each other's company and even become friends through this experience of finding these crystals and becoming quote-unquote superheroes in a way. And do I think this movie works. Yes, I do. I think it does. I think the problem with it is that it's 2 hours long. I think that in itself is a real big problem. I think if you're gonna be mainly promoting this film to young teens slash kids, a 2 hour runtime is a really tough thing to do because you're really hoping that you keep audiences engaged for those 2 hours. Now, I will say this, the action, you don't really get any major action stuff until the last 20 minutes. I would probably say 20 minutes seems about fair. And I think the action is decent. There is something in the movie that I don't like is basically it ends up turning into this big, too huge CGI sort of um, I don't want to say monsters, but I guess you can say that, kind of battling it out. And at that point, I kind of started to tune out a bit. I was like, it's just basically a big barrage of CGI. And at that point, I really didn't care. I'm like, where's the emotion? Where's the characters? But I do think that the action is decent for what you get. But again, you have to wait, you know, damn near almost the entire movie to get it. I do think the acting itself, I think that the kids, all of them do really well. I think they're all pretty good at what they do in the movie. I think you can relate to some of them. I think others you can't. And I think, you know, you're either going to walk away from this being, oh, I can relate to them, or, oh, they were just very snobbish and pushy, and I didn't really care for them too much. You're going to go on the fence about it. For me, I didn't go on the fence about it. I actually really did enjoy these characters. I thought Elizabeth Banks playing Rita Repulsa, she's definitely hamming it up. Seems like she's having a fun time. Seems like she's hamming it up. Part of me liked her performance and part of me didn't. Part of me felt like I really wanted to feel like she was more of a threat than she actually was. It felt that they defeated her very easily. It didn't really feel like it was much of a struggle, and I felt like she wasn't as menacing as she could have been. At the same time, I remember the TV show and I remember the cheesiness of the lady who played Rita Repulsa, and so I was fine with some of the cheesiness as well. So it's a balance. You know, you're not, I think the thing with this movie is that for me I liked it, but I could see other people not liking it. I can see where people would be on the fence about this movie. You also have Bryan Cranston as Zordon in the movie, and I thought he was pretty cool. I thought he did a good job. He actually voiced some characters in the original Power Rangers, so he actually has a history with this franchise. And I thought he did a good job. It was mainly sort of CGI, and they just CGI'd his face onto sort of a screen. But I thought he did a good job for what he had. You know what? I think all the actors sort of bring their A games to the role. I really do. I think that they know what movie they're in, but they're also trying to mature it up for audiences. And again, you know, that's the thing about it, because you want to appeal to younger generation, but you also want to appeal to the older generation that grew up with Power Rangers. Does this movie do it? I don't know if it successfully does it. I definitely would like to see a sequel. I would. I would see a sequel. I would watch it. Now, that's not for everybody. I don't think everybody would want a sequel to this. I definitely think if you're going to do a sequel, you got to jump right into the Power Rangers action. You got to jump right into you know, the Power Rangers stuff. This movie takes a long time to establish the characters. It takes a long time to get everything going before you really delve into it. I think you had to do that. I think if you do a sequel, you have to just, we're off and running. I don't think you really need to really establish all these characters, but that's just me. I do think this also, you do have these sort of pop songs in the movie, these sort of punk pop songs. I don't think they work in the movie. I honestly think they don't. They have like little fight training sequences, montages, and they have this sort of pop punk stuff, and it just doesn't work for the movie. There's a lot of stuff that works, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't. So it's really half and half. So I think you guys will, I think, enjoy the movie, but I think you're gonna be left saying, or it wasn't bad. Would I recommend you watch the movie? Yeah, I do recommend it because I think it's not a bad reboot for a sort of old franchise that needs maybe to be picked up a little bit, but it is something that I would say know what you're getting yourself into. Know that it's 2 hours long. Know that there's not much action in the movie. Know that, you might not get out of the movie what you wanted, or I'm sorry, what you got out of the TV show. So you kind of have to split hairs here. I will say this, they do set up for a sequel. You do have, little hints and little nuggets of stuff that does set up for hopefully maybe what's coming. I know it didn't do incredibly great at the box office, did okay. I don't know if that's going to affect its sort of sequel possibilities, but I would be down for watching a sequel. I would give it a chance. If the second movie is not that good, then I'd probably walk away from this entirely. But this was sort of like a getting to know these guys, getting into sort of their hero sort of status, and and then the next movie would be off and running. But we'll see how it goes. I will say this much: I think the powers that they have is pretty cool, and there is a sequence at the beginning where they are like jumping across cliffs and they're breaking stuff, and it's kind of cool because they're experiencing it for the first time. So you kind of get the wonder and imagination out of their eyes that you probably would get as well. So I do recommend it, but it is a slight recommendation. So that'll do it for Netflix Nights number 21, Power Rangers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video and I hope you enjoy the content that I've been doing. If you do, definitely hit subscribe. And make sure you are hitting that little bell on the notification so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. Also, I am on Twitter and Facebook, FilmFan108, so you can find me there too. Alright guys, I will see you next time for another Netflix Nights. Take care.